Welcome to Unfiltered and Unstoppable with Rob Romesburg. Real strategies for real advisors, a podcast that dives into what it takes to scale a thriving financial practice. Each week, we'll discuss actionable strategies, tools, and insights to keep you ahead in today's financial landscape. From innovative products and powerful marketing tactics, you'll get unfiltered truth and unstoppable strategies. Let's get started by building your unstoppable financial practice today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Unstoppable. This is the podcast where we share real strategies for real advisors who are committed to building bigger practices, serving more families, and quite frankly, creating more freedom for themselves and for their teams. I'm your host, Rob Rumsberg, and I truly appreciate you taking the time today to spend part of your day with me. And so, whether you're driving between appointments, sitting in your office preparing for your next client meeting, or simply getting ready for your next marketing campaign, my goal is simple. Each and every single week, we want to leave you with each episode at least one idea that's capable of changing the trajectory of your business. So, today we're going to be talking about something that will be incredibly timely, the fall seminar season. For many advisors, fall is the biggest opportunity of the year. Their kids are back in school, vacations are over, people are starting to focus on year-end tax planning. All of a sudden, retirement questions start to pop up again, and prospects are generally more willing to attend educational events during the fall season. And the reason for that is, uh, you know, but really the truth of all of it is simply hosting a seminar doesn't guarantee results anymore. The advisors that are winning today aren't simply just doing more seminars. What they are doing is actually building better workshops, more educational workshops. There's a massive difference. There really is. And today, I'm going to really walk you through exactly how successful advisors are creating seminars that consistently fill seats, that create more trust, generate appointments, and ultimately become the highest ROI marketing activities in their business. So let's jump right in. What are some of the biggest mistakes that I see advisors make? What I what I believe. Let's start here. What I believe to be the biggest misconception in seminar marketing today, and it's something that I hear all the time. First of all, if I could just get more people in the room, I'd have more clients. Or it's nothing but plate lickers. Or seminars don't work in my area. Listen, I know it's easy for me to say sitting from my seat. I get it. However, I'm going to tell you time and time and time again, our top advisors are the ones that are running seminars and running seminars successfully. And I get it at first glance. A lot of what I said as far as the objections sound logical. For example, more attendees should equal more appointments, and more appointments should equal more clients. But quite frankly, after working with thousands of advisors over the years, I could tell you that that's just simply not how it works. In fact, I've seen advisors spend thousands of dollars on direct mail campaigns, fill a room with 60 or 70 people. That was the good old days, but I've seen it, and walk away with only two appointments. And on the flip side of it, I've seen advisors only have maybe 18 attendees and schedule appointments with 14 of them. So if you think about that for just a moment, what one seminar had more than three times the attendees. However, the other seminar generated seven times the results. So what's the difference? Wasn't the restaurant, wasn't the mail house, definitely not the meal, uh, not the topic. The difference was the experience that the attendees had from the moment that they walked through the doors until the moment they got all the way back to their car. The highest performing advisors, they don't think of seminars as presentations. What they know them, not what they think of them as, what they know them to be are relationship building opportunities, or even better yet, relationship building experience. And that's a huge distinction, right? Because if your only objective is to fill seats, then guess what? You're measuring the wrong thing. Uh, Attendance is very vain. That's a vanity metric, right? It's and then you'll have appointments. Sure, we want appointments. That's a performance metric. The ultimate metric of everything is what do we have for clients? I'd rather see you host a workshop with 20 engaged attendees, set 12 appointments, than rather have you have 75 people in the audience that politely clap, right? They get the dessert and they just head out to their car. They just disappear in the parking lot. The goal is not to impress the largest audience. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is influence the right audience, right? And actually, here's something else that I want you to think about. We live in a world today that there's more information now at our fingertips than ever. If somebody wants to know something about a Roth conversion, guess what? They can Google it. If they wanted to understand RMDs better, there's probably 10,000 YouTube videos out there on RMDs. If they wanted to compare annuities, guess what? AI within seconds can summarize dozens of articles within seconds. And the problem is information now more than ever is a commodity. It's everywhere. And because it's everywhere, information's no longer what differentiates you. So, with all the information out there, why are people still attending workshops? Why are they taking 2 hours out of their evening to drive across town, sit in a room full of strangers to get sold to? It's certainly not because they couldn't find the information. It's because they're searching for something that Google can't provide. They're searching for confidence. Am I actually going to be okay in retirement? They're looking for clarity. It can actually I found this online, but can someone explain it to me in English? They're looking for direction. What is the next step that I need to be taking in my specific situation? And ultimately, they're looking for somebody that they can trust. Is this the person that I want to help guide my family's financial future? Is this that person? So think about your own life for a minute. I know I do this. I probably shouldn't, but I Google my symptoms before going to a doctor. I know most of us have. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've got that disease. And probably it's just the common cold for us men. You've probably found dozens of articles, hundreds of opinions. Unfortunately, yeah, we probably convinced ourselves we had something worse than we probably did. But guess what? Still scheduled the appointment with the doctor. Why? Because you're not the doctor, first of all, and the information that you got didn't eliminate uncertainty, right? You wanted a true professional to look and really evaluate your situation. And guess what? Financial planning is no different. People aren't looking for generic answers. What they're really looking for is personalized confidence, right? They and that's where great advisors really separate themselves. That best seminar out there, that's not the one that is just simply educating. Sure, you reduce anxiety, you simplify complexity. You really what you want to do is help people feel like someone actually finally understands what they're going through. And that's why you've got to stop thinking of yourself simply as a presenter. You're not up there to deliver a lecture. You are there to establish a relationship. That's it. Sure, provide some education along the way, but really, you want to establish the relationship because every story you tell, every question you answer, every example you give, every smile, this is all contributing to the one question running through that prospect's mind sitting in the audience. Could I see myself trusting this person with my retirement? Do I see myself with this person for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? And what you want to notice there that this is very emotional. This is not logical. Yes, we need logic to support the decision. We do. Emotion is what's going to start the decision. You can justify hiring that advisor because of experience, credentials, investment philosophy, but they are going to choose that advisor that made them feel heard and understood. Your seminar is not really about retirement planning. It's that's what we're going to do, sure, but you're not there to just be that retirement planner. You want to make sure to create the perfect experience because at the end of the day, they're not going to remember every chart you showed, every stat you quoted, every tax law. You want them to feel more hopeful. You want them to genuinely feel like you are the one that understands them. Not necessarily just showing slides and proving how much you know, but let's make sure that the trust happens at the end there. And that's what it's all about. And you know, it's all about how you think as the advisor. The average advisor would ask themselves one question before every workshop. What should I teach? However, a successful advisor is asking a completely different question. What does my audience need to believe before they'll ever set that first appointment? That one shift is what's going to change everything. Because let's be let's be honest, there are very few people on this planet that is waking up on a Tuesday morning going, "Man, you know what? I really some hope that somebody's going to teach me about tax diversification tonight." That's not going to happen. People are attending workshops because something's bothering them. They're worried about retirement, their family's future, and by paying too much in taxes, what's going on with the market volatility? Am I writing this thing? Am I crashing? What's happening? Oh my God, did I is this a mistake that I can't undo? Once again, they're looking for confidence, clarity, someone that they can trust, and not necessarily even caring about how many designations you have on your wall or how many products you have to offer or how many years you've been in the business. They once again need to understand that you know them. Connecting with your audience is the greatest thing that you can do. Not slide number 27, not the pie chart, not the IRS code. The first question they're going to ask themselves, and this is a question that we all ask before doing business with someone is, do I trust you? Trust isn't built simply because you stood up there and said, "Hey, folks, don't worry, I'm trustworthy." It's built because you demonstrated empathy. You demonstrated that you actually care. You listened. You and you were an educator instead of a salesperson. You are authentic. People can sense authenticity a freaking mile away, but you know what? They can sense a sales pitch even quicker. That's what we're talking about right now. The second question that they're going to ask is, do they actually understand my situation? Did did your story sound just like the people that are in your audience? Like, do they think that story sounds like them? Did you possibly address the fears that they've been carrying around? Did they sit there and think, "Wow, this is exactly what my wife and I have been talking about." The moment that someone feels understood, all of a sudden you're gonna see resistance start to disappear. Question number 3 is, "Hey, can you simplify something that's been overwhelming me?" Because here's the thing, let's face it, retirement planning today is incredibly complicated, more complicated than it's ever been. Talking about taxes and IRMA and Social Security and RMDs, Medicare, long-term care, income planning, estate planning, investment risk. I mean, none of us are looking for more complexity. I'm definitely not looking for more complexity when I'm going into retirement. I thought my life was supposed to be more simple. What they're looking for is that firm, that individual, that advisor that is going to make complexity feel manageable. Well, one of the greatest compliments that you can receive as an advisor is, "Man, you know what? You explained that to me so much better than anyone ever has." Guess what? That's when your appointments are going to happen. The fourth question is, what's the next step? And this to me is the most bewildering, frustrating, mind-blowing things I see when I watch a seminar for the first time is, and this is where seminars will fall apart. You've done a phenomenal presentation. My gosh, I felt great being here. Everyone felt great for being there. And there's business cards being handed out. And then all of a sudden, you're hoping that someone's going to call you. What hope? Where was the close? Where was the clear transition? Hope's not a marketing strategy. People need direction. You need to tell them exactly what to expect next. What are they going to receive? How long is it going to take? Who should meet with you? What problems are going to be solved during the first appointment? You got to reduce that uncertainty. You got to increase the confidence. You got to make sure that when I say yes to set an appointment, it feels so easy and so like I feel relieved for doing it. I can't wait to set the appointment. What I really want you to remember is the prospect is not hiring you as an advisor because that was a great seminar, right? We keep saying that over and over again. You've got to make sure that you are consistently answering those 4 questions throughout the whole seminar. And guess what? Then you're going to outperform the advisor that's spending twice as much on advertising, direct mail, digital marketing, because your seminar is not simply generating leads, it's generating belief. And that belief is what's going to drive the action. And one final thought in this section here, people rarely hire the smartest advisor in the room, FYI. But believe it or not, there are I have met hundreds, maybe even thousands of brilliant advisors with all of the initials behind their last name, and they are struggling to grow. And the reason for that is that they don't quite grasp that this is a relationship business. Because guess what? Knowledge does not build trust, right? Connection is what builds trust, right? People are going to be the hiring the ones that make them feel the most confident. Once again, don't ask yourself, what should I teach? Instead, what does my crowd, what does my audience need to believe before they'll trust me enough to become my client, before they'll set that first appointment with me? I want to talk a little bit about what one of my advisors share a story here. This perfectly illustrates everything we've been talking about. This is several years ago. One of the advisors I work with called after hosting what he considered to be a disappointing seminar season. So here's what made it interesting, though. From the outside looking in, most thought he was successful, mailing consistently, wonderful presentation, spoke confidently. Workshops were well attended. Average attendance was around 25. That's a good average attendance. He was happy if 30 showed up. He wasn't angry if 20 showed up. So he, he, he just thought, the problem's marketing. And then he was like, Hey, do you think I need to spend more money on my mailings? I said, well, I mean, we could look at that, but first, before you spend any other dollars on marketing here, let's look at actually what's happening after people are walking through the door of the seminar, right? So I went to his next set of workshops right away. Within 15 minutes, I saw what the problem was. It was a great presentation. He wasn't giving the wrong presentation. He started exactly the way many advisors do. He introduced himself, talked about how long he'd been in the business. He explained all of his licenses and his certifications, and he talked about all the companies he has access to. He talked about his investment philosophy. Uh, then he went right into 45 minutes of teaching. Went through charts, graphs, tax rules, economic forecast, Social Security rules, RMDs, all that stuff. And everything he said was accurate, and everything he said was valuable, and it was technically correct, right? Something was missing. There was no connection. There was no connection at all. They were learning, the people in the audience, but there wasn't really any engagement. No one was engaging. They were listening, but they weren't sitting there envisioning themselves in these situations. And how I knew that was I was looking around the room. Nobody was taking notes. No one was asking questions. When the presentation ended, people applauded, and they got their folders, got their dessert, walked out the door. And guess what? His numbers were exactly what he said. And he just assumed that was normal. I didn't. So after the seminar, we sat down. We completely rethought his presentation. We didn't change the topic. We didn't change the restaurant. We didn't change the mail house. Uh, we didn't increase his marketing budget. Instead, what we focused on was the experience. But the first thing that we did was we freaking threw out the window his 10-minute introduction. I said, "Hey, man, nobody came here tonight to listen to your resume. I get it. That's important and that's vital, and that's something we could share. That could be something that's in your brochure. In fact, it wasn't his brochure. Instead, let's open with a story, a real story of your real clients." And so he started thinking about one. Started thinking about a particular set of clients that had spent 40 years, uh, and they saved diligently for 40 years. They did everything right. Paid off their home, maximized their retirement accounts. They avoided any sort of crazy, unnecessary debt. And then just a few months before retirement, they realized something. Hey, you know what? I don't even know what happens with taxation in retirement. All of a sudden, they stopped worrying about the market. They were worried, extremely worried, whether they'd accidentally make some sort of costly tax mistake over the next 25 years. And then immediately in that next presentation, the room was different. You could tell people were leaning forward, heads started nodding, husbands were looking at their wives, and wives were looking at their husbands. And you could see people thinking, okay, yeah, that's us. And that one story at the beginning accomplished more in 3 minutes than the 45 minutes of charts that has ever had. It wasn't about information, it was just simply about relating. People saw themselves all of a sudden, and we did make some other changes. We did reduce the topics. He did have 12 different retirement topics, that's too many, but let's make sure that if you have multiple retirement topics, let's make sure that you're really, really good at one. Okay. As an example, reducing unnecessary taxes during retirement. So you don't have to get out there and improve how much you know. Just let's make sure people know that you can help them solve one problem exceptionally well. And then we simplified many of his slides. We took, I mean, there's some slides that just had paragraphs on them, complicated charts. we took out a lot of the, oh my gosh, spreadsheets all over the place. And, you know, the last thing also is we wanted to make sure that he was very involved as well, and making sure that he's asking questions about it every 10 minutes or so. And hands were going up all over the place. We did rewrite his close as well. Before his close was, "Hey, if anyone has any questions, feel free to come to my office. Here's my business card." Uh, but then after that point in time, we implemented a complimentary retirement tax strategy session, and we talked about how the point of that session was to evaluate their current retirement plan, identify potential tax opportunities, and also to determine whether or not there's some strategies they hadn't yet considered. Clear, simple. We quadrupled his closing ratio, and this was such a huge improvement for him. Once again, didn't all of a sudden become a better speaker. He just found a better way to relate. And the thing is, once again, start out every seminar with a compelling story. Not necessarily your resume. Start out with that story. Make sure that you're solving one problem exceptionally well. Cover multiple topics, but make sure they know about one particular problem that you're wonderful at. Keep your visuals simple. You don't need to have uh, visuals all over the place. Keep them very, very simple. Think of any TED Talk that you've watched. TED Talks are always simple visuals, but with powerful stories. And make sure that you turn your audience into participants, right? Don't turn it into a lecture. Make sure that they're involved. Ask questions. Get people to raise their hands. And then, most importantly, end the presentation with a very clear and confident next step. I get it. They're going to applaud, but don't end it with, "Hey, call me if you have questions." End it with, "Hey, if today's workshop raise questions about your own retirement plan, we'd be happy to sit down with you for a complimentary retirement strategy session. During that meeting, we're going to review your current plan. We're going to identify potential risk, answer your questions, determine whether there's any opportunities to improve your retirement confidence." And by the way, there's no obligation. Our goal is simply to help you understand where you stand, and just make that very clear and specific. That's what people want. And when you do your stories like that and your closing like that, you are going to see a phenomenal difference. I want to challenge you. Look at your current seminar presentation, record yourself, record yourself in front of your friends, in front of your family, and then watch it and say, would I attend this if I weren't the presenter? Does this keep me engaged? Would I schedule an appointment afterwards? Would I tell someone else to attend it? If it's not a confident yes, gotta improve it. You gotta improve it. And even just small changes could create enormous results, right? Just one better opening story, better questions, a stronger close, maybe a more compelling offer. I promise you, small improvements will create such a huge opportunity for you. So, if you've been listening and today's episode got you thinking, and I think that I've got something that you will really appreciate. We created a guide. It's called the Fall Seminar Workshop Planning Guide, and inside of it, you're going to see a seminar planning checklist, how to promote your event, the timeline, some different registration ideas, the agenda framework, the follow up sequence, some awesome appointment conversion strategies, and then also a seminar success scorecard, which I think is really cool. Not just how many appointments did I have, but to be able to grade yourself. So head out to our website, which is simply evolvewithgradient.com /ignite team. Once again, evolvewithgradient.com /ignite team, and request the fall seminar workshop planning guide. This guide, I promise you, is not only going to save you countless hours, but this is going to make your best seminar season yet. But before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of the advisors for what you do every single day. I know being an advisor is not easy. You help families navigate uncertainty. You help retirees protect decades of hard work. You guide people through some of the biggest financial decisions of their life. This is very, very meaningful work, and you don't hear it enough. So don't lose sight of the impact that you're making. The families that you serve are better because you're willing to continue learning and improving. So thank you for investing your time here with me. It truly means a lot. If you found today's episode valuable, be sure to like the episode, follow the podcast, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and most importantly, share this episode with anyone within your firm because you never know what this might do for your firm overall if everyone listens to this. And as always, I'm Rob Romesburg. This has been Unfiltered, Unstoppable. This is where we believe that ordinary advisors build ordinary businesses, but making sure at the same time we are improving overall to become impossible to stop. So until next time, keep serving, keep growing, keep leading, and stay unfiltered and unstoppable. As always, thank you for what you do.
The opinions herein may be from personal experience and may not necessarily be those of the Gradient Financial Group, its employees, or affiliates. Any results, topics, or outcomes are for informational purposes only. Financial professional use only. Rob Romesburg does not render tax, legal, or accounting advice and is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency.